Hey everyone, thank you so much for joining Archangel Alts. We're going to do a market watch and just kind of cover some things that are happening in the marketplace. I'm going to check and make sure that I am not muted. Okay, very good. And I'm going to make sure that I am on the right thing. Yes, I am. You should be able to see stuff well then. Very cool. So our watching position on IOST, which was trending well here, trending well here, and trending well here. So we got in just to do something very quickly. And unfortunately, Bitcoin kind of pulled it down. So we're following this track. Actually, we were, I want to show you the actual place where we were, not something that looks very similar to it. So yeah, this was the drop that got us. And so it's been kind of trending downwards. We need it to do 198, but I've got it set for 199 because I still think that once Bitcoin picks up some volume again, we won't have much trouble clearing that. So it looks like it's, a cliffhanger, I always call these, and unfortunately I got taken for one the first time since we've been doing our soft launch. But I do not think that this is a hodl. I think that this is going to do the longer term correction. It was already on the right path. This slowed it down, but the angle is just about the same. I think it's picking up about the same momentum, so that's cool. ARK treated us very well. We traded, and it was kind of neat because, well, now you know that's not true. There you go. It always takes a little bit of time to update there. So we bought in the 1469, 8765, and then we sold upwards. So we did kind of like a extremely fast-paced dollar cost averaging, and then sold 88 and 89. So very happy with that. We got our margin that we needed. Very cool. So, but this isn't just about me. This is about all the different coins and what they are up to. What you up to, guys? So obviously, the logical place is to start with Bitcoin. The market watch, since more than half of the market, at least right now, is Bitcoin. So we were really happy. I kind of tracked this and talked about there being a Bitcoin rally, and that happened here. And it's actually more than I would have expected it to do. My hope was just that we could have, here, I'll go in to show you. It's pretty clear to me from this, but you have this up, drop kind of thing happening. And my hope was that, this trend happening right here, followed by, yes, there's some down, but it was only a third of it. When we talk about the principle of thirds, that's one aspect of what's going on. So we had an up and an up at the same angle, and then we had a down and a down, and that was not quite as low as when it tested 3350. So when we went up, I was kind of hoping that it could just, get to and hold, above 3550, 3560. And when it went, it was a full-on buy-in. And I would say whoever had the millions to push this upwards, other people joined along for the ride. So that was pretty cool. Now, this is where the most activity from the top third. Think of the principle of thirds. We want to buy in on the low third, sell in the high third, and keep things rolling. And so you're watching for positions that'll move enough to do so. Bitcoin is not always one of those positions. So what we're watching for, unfortunately, is as these positions tighten, the average stays within a narrower range. Bitcoin is literally trading in the millions of dollars with a range of about $2. So millions of dollars worth of buys and sells are happening like between 3605 and 3610. And that's pretty phenomenal, remarkable, amazing. But I do think that Bitcoin is most likely not going to hold above the 3650 line. I think that it's headed for 3500, maybe 3550-ish. And, technically that's better than it was, towards the end of last month. And here we are once again. It was below 3400 just a few days ago. So, I mean, this was a substantial deal, and what I was excited about is that you watch it over the hour by hour by hour, it was able to hold up here for a pretty long time. So the fact that it was trading sideways was a little bit okay because that meant that it was holding above 3,600. Now, that still sounds really low when all of us have been tracking this, expecting it to be able to go, 6, 7, 8, 10,000. I, did not think that the 20,000 plus moon thing was going to happen this time at all. For it to do the same thing, when it hit $20,000, okay, it was already on a trajectory that it was, possible that if somebody pumped it hard, that other people would pump it hard. And the fear of missing out would kick in, and it would just keep going up. In order for it to even do 6 to 10,000 right now, it's having to come up from a market angle that is going down by as much as 10% a week. So, there's our peak, and there's where we were before the peak. So let's just look at this a little bit realistically where we are. Market Watch is about analyzing these things as they go along. So this had come down to, about where we are now. I'm going to try to get a better zoom in there. It's one of those features that I wish would improve on Binance, just being able to like grab a window and slide it. Now, everything is popping right now. Very interesting. Just had 3 of our coins that we watch. In fact, I'm going to read them off to you real quick. Storm and Mana, and the other one I didn't, it wasn't able to keep the notification there. So Storm and Mana. Storm I'm not going to worry about right now because it tends to be binary. It's just kind of passing back and forth from one position to the next. So this whole range was still actually higher than we are now, but in there, okay, we had 2,800, which is kind of, I hate to say it, but that's what I expected the bounce to actually end up being. This is where, I think its actual value, if we can resolve this silly Bitcoin Cash hard fork thing, which divided the main Bitcoin teams into 3. TNT is on its way up. We're going to look at that in a second. So this rally, it held for 6, then 7, then 8, then 9, then 10, then 11, then 12. Okay, these are over, weeks that it took for it to continue that trend. And also, if we're looking at the volume, just look at it in comparison to where we are now, and you can see, this is fairly decent. But these are over weeks. But this has been what's really holding us back. Not a lot of volume, and a lot of it is selling off. This trade is just not enough to get us there. The market is much bigger, so it's going to take more active people doing more active trading for it to really pay off. But if you look at the overall lifetime of Bitcoin here on Binance, you can see that it's mostly like a surge and then a very long tail. I mean, there's so much that happens in the midst of this. This is a extreme oversimplification of things. Just one of those candles alone represents so much activity. So right here, recently, we see around 3,600 to around 3,660, and that's a great trading range. People who are looking for 10%, 20, 30, 70, 100% have fallen for the, fake YouTube trader hype. They've drunk the Kool-Aid of people that are promising, buy this, tiny little coin, buy, $1,000 worth of it, and you're going to have $10,000 by the end of the year. That's not what trading's about, and that's not realistic under any market. I don't care what you've seen it do. Just don't try to just spend all of your trading time looking at the highs and lows on Cryptopia and hoping that you're going to strike it rich. Learn the process, learn the charts, learn the indicators, but learn them from us. Stick with us because we're going to show you things that other people are wrong about. And we're going to show you a lot of things that we think are going to be helpful to you. So just what I'm going to run down quickly, here are the things that are currently trending. Okay, Myth is not normally up here. KMD is not normally up here. ARC, I'm really interested in. One of you guys that joined us for the live trading stream, Live Without a Net, was asking me about ARK, and in that process, it just made me realize that I have been watching it for weeks do this whole thing and was really interested in it, but I was kind of waiting it out, and we're so busy with the launch and making sure that I know how to press the right buttons when I'm trading live. I really should have been keeping up with it better, so now I will be doing so. And in fact, that was our, one of our coins that immediately did something after a couple hours, so that was pretty cool. But yeah, keep your eye on ARK. Ion, we have a lot of positions that will be coming into play soon. Really excited about that, but this is a good overall trend. The thing that I want you to watch for in all of these is don't get comfortable with where it's sitting. Okay, this is not the bull run. The fact that there's heavier trading on some of these is a really good sign, really great sign. But we need a lot more volume in the marketplace in order for any of this to sustain a real bull run. Okay, please take my word on that. Be careful. You don't want to run out of your circulation trying, to chase one or two positions. Okay, so just look at that. If somebody's watching their normal 15 and 30-minute trends, they would have misdirected you on data, for instance. So what I will always be showing you is to understand the lifetime average, the temporary average, and then the market movement from there. Theta has been really, really interesting. Once again, just because we see this stuff happening, some of it is, in fact, I'm looking right now, the 30-minute of Theta looks identical to the 1 minute on Bitcoin. I want you to actually look at that yourself. I'm not going to show you on here because there's not enough screen to do it justice. You need to really analyze this on your own, learn to look at this, but really quite remarkable, actually. I mean, down to the last stuff right here. Now, Bitcoin is headed at a downward angle a little bit, but the movement is certainly there. It's amazing. So TNT is currently headed down a little bit. TNT is one of the coins that I really like to watch. Sometimes we do well getting in and out of that. BCPT, haven't really been trading much recently, but probably will be checking it out soon. So you're noticing a lot of this, right? Oh, it's like one of those people that says like right after everything. I don't want to be that, but there are times where it makes sense. I meant to click on now, but fuel is interesting as well. Fuel, we've got to see it recover. I don't know if any of you have been trading for a while, but somewhere around this range was a little bit tricky, and we should have followed the valley better. I think that this is probably where we got stuck there. And no, actually it is possibly more, yeah, somewhere in this range. This right here kind of got tricked up and needed, this is the reason that I need to follow my own advice and not go for that extra percent or so, being overly optimistic, and then that window closes pretty quick. So we do not do stop loss. We do not think that it's smart to build a strategy around how much you're going to fail. Plain and simple. So NAV, I think that is very interesting to keep your eye on. It may not look as drastic as some of the other positions, but because of a cool thing that Binance does, some people may not like it. I absolutely love it. It rounds things down. And in this case, this is, I always look at how many positions after the first decimal position. Pretending that Bitcoin is 1.0, 0.1 would be the 1,000 position, $110 pennies. And in this case, we have 4, 5, 6, 7, so there's one extra digit there. So this is actually like a, 400 here is actually 4,000 over here. So you just have to adjust your math and ignore that last position when you're looking how wide it goes. But everybody is forced into trading, a single point is actually a 10 instead of a 1. And that's really good for the coin. It's good for us, for traders, because there's fewer small moves that you can get tricked in along the way. So we like that. NAV, I think, is interesting to continue to watch. ONT typically has been bottoming out in the 1500s for a while. This is once again one of those coins that actually has 2 extra digits. So, you know, 1 extra from here. And you start getting used to, I mean, at least I do. I look at it in terms of how many zeros there are. So it has a lot to do with the kind of movement and the capability to move. But yeah, we have some older positions. I remember exactly when it was before Bible study that I was within 1 point. I decided to wait it out, and I should have like literally just adjusted it to 39.38. And then again over here, 36.41-ish. And we wouldn't be holding those, but we're only holding like 12 different positions total in 12 different coins. 10, 12 different coins. That's not bad for 14 months. And now over 66,000, probably 50 trades now. Phoenix, I still believe in you, and we're coming into a good window there. You know, once again, this is not just about my trades. My trades are my recommendations because that's what I'm going to try to recommend to other people. Salt doesn't usually bode well. That the fact that it's got to cover, you know, more than 2 or 3 points, it's just not a big enough coin to do that all the time. Go, kind of the same thing. When it's good, it's good. In the meantime, you know, the downtrend is not leaving enough of a window to get in there, in my opinion. BNT is one of the more interesting projects, but it's kind of mirroring what others, if they do it right, BNT might eventually kind of ease its way into another project. But there's a brilliant and dangerous economist that is kind of leading the way there. We've been researching him since 2011. So it's a very interesting, very small project, but it has exactly the right protocol for what the future of these marketplaces are going to be. Unless all of crypto is one huge bait and switch and we're just, you know, done in for, which I don't think that's the case, we'll all be fine. So you can actually see this range. We got some that we need to clear literally like right around there. So you can see in the grand scheme, that's, you know, nothing for it to have to go up. And we got some, yeah, I know. We got tricked up here. Got to be more careful than that. Got to take my own advice. It's the only times that we ever get stuck in a position is when I just get that itchy trigger finger. It's kind of hard to zoom into the right place over here, so thank you for your patience. But yeah, I want to show you exactly where that place is. I might have to go to the 30-minute to get this right. Seems like yesterday. Oh my goodness, Binance, please work with me, fellas, would you? QSP is on its way up. All right, so here we are. This was around last week, last month. Steam, very interesting project. I hope that they're not jerks because I think that they're on the right path. So if they don't get it right, maybe somebody else will come in and do it for them. But let's stay encouraging on Steam, hoping that the market will respond in kind. Bitcoin Diamond is staying with it in its fall from grace that happened many months back. Oh, that was just, you know, that was painful. But I like the fact that it's still going, and one of these days it might find traction. I don't know if the team is up for the challenge of what's coming in crypto. Very interesting stuff, though. Don't you think? Yes, I do. DNT is a good one to be watching. VIB and also VIBE are both interesting. So here's the big headline with BitTorrent project between Tron and Binance. And this was just a massive moneymaker for anybody that was willing to see what I was going to do that's outside of our risk range. So it is actually trending upwards again. Good for you for guys that were able to get in 27, 28, and 29. That's all that it was able to cover yesterday. Let's see. This was, you know what? I take that back. It got as low as 26. I don't think that anybody was able to get in on that tiny little candle down there, the tiny wick on the bottom. So, yep, 27, 28, 29. That means that if you were 26 or 27, you have definitely cleared if you were willing to sell at 28 or 29. So now it's at 30. It literally had the most that I've ever seen in a position, 1,100 something Bitcoins all on 28, and then 400 or so on 27. Unbelievable. So guys, just please take my advice. Be careful here. We don't know just how much ammo they've got to grow this thing. As you can see, we're working on hitting our first penny as the value goes. So not that that's a problem. You can buy, some people have 1 billion of these now, I guess. But I see a place of resistance. And I mean, anything can happen, anything, anywhere, anytime with these coins. But just be very cautious. Please take my advice. Be cautious. You don't want to, take your, all of your Bitcoin and say, wow, I could do this big leap here, so I'm going to make tons of money. Look at all the people that are buying in right now at 30. So just be very careful. Tron, dude, is very good about the hype, but he will drop you in a heartbeat if it makes him $1 billion. So just realize that there are, some personalities behind this stuff that don't necessarily care about you. In fact, BTT is such a big deal to him that he's left a lot of people hanging on his coin. On Tron, you can see, I mean, as advertised in here, and then I don't care, BTT, and we're down 200 points. And, Tron did this the last time, way early in the game, when it was, trying to say, hey, we're worth, here, I gotta get a better view to really show you. Okay, in this range here, and in this range here, look how long it sits really low. So when they drop the hype, it just can't sustain itself. But some would say, well, doesn't that look better than the Bitcoin trend? Well, sure, but Bitcoin is 50% of the market. So, 2 cents versus 3,500. Thank you very much. So let's take a, I'm sure that you would expect me to be going over these. So let's look at the typical Litecoin, which it really had an interesting time in here. People are very happy about its little surges up there. And Ethereum, you can't quite tell from, okay, you can see, Ethereum takes a pretty good amount to make a profit because it is worth a pretty good amount itself. So it really needs to cover a bigger range than it does on a daily basis. So if you're really confident and secure in following Ethereum and the pace that it goes, you can trade some of the smaller coins to it. I really wouldn't do the whole Ethereum Bitcoin trading thing, but some people disagree. Ethereum Classic actually is a little bit easier to trade. We haven't been doing much in it right now because there have been better positions to be following. So that's going to be it for right now for the Market Watch. I'm going to cover some things more in coordination with news-related stuff, following the fork with Bitcoin Cash, ABC, and SB, meaning Satoshi's Vision. So we'll keep on track of this kind of stuff, and because I just can't help it. Come on, get out of that range, would you please? Pretty please. All right, so that's good. It's testing there. So yeah, we just it's the only position that I'm going into. The first like 10 hours. Not even 10 hours. What am I complaining about? Let's see. I have to look at the order histories. Okay, so we bought at 197. Hey, it's been 12 hours. Okay, so I was right. It's been about 12 hours. So, I don't really consider something a hodl for real until a couple of days into it. I consider midterm position anything that's going on like a week or two, but it's impossible to expect everything to pop in an hour. I really should have just like gone for one position and then been done with it. Get in at 97, get out at 98, and move forward. So anyway, that's the market. I hope that's helpful to you guys. I'm going to keep our eyes on whether Bitcoin can hold at 3610. Things usually tend to taper off as the afternoon goes into the evening, and then at some point in time at night, whether it's 6 or 9 or 12 or 3 into the wee hours, there's always some wave at some point. And if it is a huge buy-in, then everything starts to light up. If it's a huge sell-off, then things tend to go down with it, but then recover. People get scared and they buy back in. So we'll see what happens as it progresses. All right. Archangel alts out. We'll see you soon.